'twas the podcast before Christmas, and all through the studio, not a creature was stirring except for a thurrot. Didn't really rhyme, but
That's okay. How you doing?
It's yeah, ready for a little time off, maybe, sort of.
Yeah,
Maybe
definitely.
little time with the family. The kid is officially done with school until I think January 3rd.
Yep.
It's does not feel like Christmas in the slightest. It's raining. It's more like monsoon season.
So, speaking of which, last night I was woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning by the sound of what I took to be ice hitting the window sideways. Like it was that kind of, that very familiar, well, I don't know, very familiar, but, that sound I equate with ice. And I thought to myself, man, and it just kept going. Like I'd wake up every once in a while, I could still hear it. It was really strong.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, man, there's no way my daughter's going to school tomorrow, We got up in the morning and it was 61 degrees out. And it had never rained ice. It was always just rain. And it must have been going sideways because like our front door is inside of a porch. It's not enclosed. Well, it's not fully enclosed, but there's a roof and whatever. And the front door was soaking wet. And it's got to be 8 or 10 feet from the outdoors, right? So, I mean, the rain had to have been coming literally sideways for that door to get wet like that. I've never seen it get wet.
I mean, it was...
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, weird Mirrorcaster stuff. Weird.
That's weird.
Yeah. I had a nice picture up there, too.
Mirrorcast is potentially going away. I think I mentioned that to you. You'll be shocked to discover.
That's a bombshell in itself for good thing here, but what?
Maybe Microsoft could do to Chromecast what they did to Chromium, and they could call it Microsoft Cast.
And anything is possible, including this thing working. I had this really nice picture of Mars.
Sorry, man.
This is the perfect end to 2018. Just here we go.
I think it says everything that needs to be said about our year in software.
It's yeah. Anyways, so we've got that going on. It's been a busier month than I honestly thought it would be. In terms of announcements, you kind of think that this is.
It's weird because I often, and I assume you do as well, kind of complain when there isn't anything going on. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, because I am the pain in the ass that I am, it being busier this month has triggered complaints because it's too busy.
Yeah. I mean, it's
not what I was expecting. It's like, maybe I'll get some work on the book done. Maybe I could, do some other things.
Yeah.
It's been busy.
Yeah, I've published a lot of content on Petri like the past week and a half. It's probably because I'm not working on a book. I was looking at it, I was like, oh man, my stats are really high for December. Sure. I wonder what's changed. Oh yeah, that's what's changed. Has anything even gone on? I know that they announced games with gold. This was the picture I was trying to show. This came out from ESA, the European Space Agency. I think the little thing that's whizzing overhead found a crater with this. This is a massive lake. I think it's, don't quote me on this, 50 miles across.
Is it full of what though? Is that methane or what's
No. Water ice.
Literal water.
That's what they're saying.
What I see there is more snow than I have here in Pennsylvania. Like I've discovered the reason behind global warming.
Well, I think the true joke here is that the Canadians are going to be the first to inhabit Mars because now they have a new skating rink. Fresh ice.
Nice.
Everybody loves a hockey joke.
They can fight the Finns for it.
Everybody loves a hockey joke. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I'm just waiting for old Saint Nick to come down that stupid chimney, clean out the gutters a while he may. That's what Santa Claus should do. Is he should clean my gutters while he's up there.
I don't think that's what he does.
It would be nice, if he gave back for once.
Sure. Provide a service.
Because all he does is take my cookies.
Sure. The kid doesn't need any more toys, but you know what we do need? Well, washing the outside of the windows. Nobody wants to do that.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Speaking of things that have happened on the site, you put up the giveaway post.
Yeah. How's that shit show going? Let's see.
90 plus comments.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so for this first one, I can't remember what time I posted it, 9 something. I'm going to call it at 5 p.m. Eastern. Mm-hmm. We'll look at the number of comments. If you're around, I don't know if you'll be around or not. I was going to involve you in this only for some, I don't even know why. But basically go to random.org, generate 15 random numbers in case, some of them don't work out, and award the first 10, obviously, to whoever they are. It's going to be, yeah. So we'll see. I'm going out tonight for my sister's birthday. I will be home at 5, but the last I heard it, we were leaving at 6, but that seems late to me, so I don't know. So the way I'm going to handle this is, if I can do it tonight, I will, obviously. They're just product keys, so I can do this over email. It's easy. I do have the product keys. So I'm going to email the winners first just to make sure that they are alive and a person.
Yep.
I don't want to send a product key off into the other and then have it just disappear. And when they reply, I will send them the product key. So we'll see how that goes. I got to be honest. I don't have a positive outlook about this, but
yeah, there's a little bit of overhead involved here, I think, to say the least.
Yeah, what I want to do to make it because it's a manual process, so there are going to be, let's say, hundreds of responses, probably. Counting is a pain in the, is stupid. What I'd like to do, and I'm going to try to do, is import it into like an Excel spreadsheet that automatically puts each of these things into one line. I don't know if that's going to work. I'll try.
Yeah. Well, Paul, this is our official last podcast of the year, I believe. And so without going 800,000 words deep, because this is a very long topic, what are you looking forward to for next year?
All right. So the first week of January, what I'd like to see is, okay. I would like to see Microsoft focus more on quality next year, right? And there are actually really good signs that work is already underway, right? So aside from the fact that the April update and the October update, despite the deployment issues they had, were focused overwhelmingly on just improving the experience across the board in little ways that kind of finished the job stuff I complain about a lot. I see that as a good sign. But there have even been things like this week, right, that kind of point to that closing of the loop thing that I don't feel Microsoft ever does particularly well, but is in fact starting to do. So let me find one example of that, because it just happened. It's not that one. It is, it is the addition of, here it is. Microsoft To-Do support in Cortana, right? Now, yes, this should have happened 2 years ago or whenever, a long time ago. But this is one of those things, so if you go into, and I don't even have Cortana on my thing, so there are many reasons I don't use this, but I will just turn this on now. If you go into Cortana right now and you go into settings and you go into, that's completely different now, of course it is, go into Notebook rather, and you look at the skills and you look at the things you can connect to, there's really kind of a short list there, right? And this is the thing that killed my people, right? Obviously, Cortana is a bigger deal than Microsoft, but it's basically Outlook.com, Skype, Office 365, LinkedIn, Gmail, and Wunderlist. Like, seriously? I mean, and it's so Microsoft to launch Microsoft To Do whenever they did that and not have that be in this thing on day one. Like, it's so Microsoft to do.
Yeah.
But over time, we've seen it come to Outlook.com and now to Cortana and probably to other places as well. I think there's a Sticky Notes. No, Sticky Notes is separate. I'm sorry. Or is it? I think it is. They're made by the same team, though. But there is the level of integration there that speaks to a certain level of fit and finish. That is what I've been talking about for a long time. And so I'd like to see more of this. Like, if next year could be this across the board for Microsoft, that's a win right there. Does that make sense? Yeah.
No, I think that's. Yeah.
I see hopeful signs. I know I'm often very negative, but
I mean, you hate Windows, you hate Hue lights. It's it's just
yeah. That's what it is. I hate those things. I like I said, I see hopeful signs.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
What about you? What are you looking for?
Yeah, well, I think quality and consistency is going to be, I think, the key here, right? I think we're going to see some changes, hopefully, to how Windows is. Well, we've already seen it. I mean, you hit on that, how Windows is progressing. I think we're going to see more formal changes be announced here, hopefully, sometime early next year. On the hardware side, I hope that Microsoft does everything I wrote in my book, because that would be awkward if they didn't.
Well, here's what I'll say to that, because you can't say this, I mean, in this way, but I will say your sources are, if not unassailable, excellent. Things change, right? And this is one of the real peril for you and for anyone who reports on anything that Microsoft or whoever company might be working on or that they're working on, is that it may not happen, right? We knew that they were working on Andromeda, and Andromeda hasn't happened. I mean, it doesn't mean it's not going to or whatever, but that is what happened. Surface Mini is a great example of this. The fact that Surface Mini didn't ship doesn't mean that the people who reported on it were wrong.
Right.
It just means that things changed, and so I would say in the case of the things you're talking about in the book, if they don't happen or if some of them don't happen, it's going to be for that reason, not because Brad decided he was arbitrarily going to make something up, because no one ever gets bitten by making something up.
Well, I appreciate that vote of confidence. There's more to the story. Like, someone asked if I was ever going to update it, and I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, the only chapter would ever be updated would be the last one, and it's a calamity to do that. But
it's a sad thing. I mean, I think you covered the history of the thing.
Yep.
Yep.
And so all that stuff's happening. There's some other Surface things that are going on that are looking exciting. The Xbox stuff, I think it's going to be it's kind of weird, because I think Xbox is going to be a super interesting year. We're going to see this Maverick console, but then we're not going to see a whole bunch of things, because at least in gaming wise, it doesn't make sense for a company to bring like this massive new game to market in 2019 when they know that in 2020 2 brand new consoles of next generation are going to launch. So if they're building for that big of a game, they're going to be building it for the next gen, I would imagine. The one thing that I'm nervous about, Paul, and this doesn't mean definitively anything, so I've seen some more Xbox stuff over the past, a couple weeks. I've seen zero mention of that Elite controller.
Right. And that's okay. This is a good example too, right? We know they were working on it.
Yeah, there's videos of it online.
Yeah, people have asked about it and say, hey, what's going on with this thing? And the problem is sometimes you just don't have any up-to-date information. And so it's like, well, the last I heard of it was whenever it was. It's a fact that they were working on a Gen 2. It's also a fact that it's desperately needed. I mean, since the first generation came out, Microsoft issued a major rev of the controller, the basic controller.
Yep.
And it includes, Bluetooth, I think, which is brand new, better connectivity for the Xbox protocol, and that headphone jack, which is crucial for a system that doesn't have Kinect anymore. And you want to do voice commands or talk to people or whatever. They have needed for 18 months or more to release a new rev of the Xbox Elite controller. And then you can get beyond the facts and just kind of speculate. And all I could say is, I know, and you've had this experience, I've heard this from other people, as awesome as that thing is, it comes apart, right?
Yeah.
Some of the cool textured materials they have kind of start peeling off, because, you're gripping the thing like with a death grip. Maybe this shouldn't be surprising. And so I'm going to guess that they wanted to achieve a higher level of quality this time around and build something that would actually last, which is understandable. It's a $150 controller. But that's just speculation. I've literally heard nothing about it for many months.
Yeah. So we will see. I still hold out hope that we will see that revision eventually. It could still show up next year. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying.
I know, but there's all these milestones, right? There's E3, there's Gamescom, it's just the holiday selling season, right?
Yep.
Everyone that goes by, you're like, well, seriously, like, how are they not announcing this thing? There are people who are just standing there with money, please. Just release the same thing with the new internals. Fine. Yeah. I would buy it right now.
The bad thing is I'm very tempted by this way controller, which is what they want, and I don't want them to win, Paul. I don't want them to win, but they might.
I've been using this.
I can't go back to the peasants. I can't go back to that thing.
Peasants, is that what you call it?
Yeah. I can't. I have many of those controllers, and I've tried, and it doesn't feel right. It's
Yeah.
so. Anyway, so we've got the Xbox stuff, which is looking interesting. We'll see. Hopefully, Surface does everything that's on their roadmap, because that would be super interesting. I'm going to be curious to see what happens with Office. I keep hearing from a lot of people, actually, on the Office 365 Enterprise side, that prices are going up.
Yay.
But it's not like an official price hike. It's more so that Microsoft, because a lot of these companies, I guess, are in 3-year renewal cycles. I'm guessing, because that's what I'm hearing at least, is that it's not that prices are going up. It's that their discounts are going less.
Okay.
So.
Well, it worked for Apple, you know?
Yep. Yeah. So, I don't know. I think 2019 will be a good year for Microsoft. They're going into it on a high note, being the most valuable company in the world. We'll see if that bites them in the butt. But
I just checked that this morning. You know, I just looked at the market cap. I ended up not writing about it, but I, with an eye toward doing that, they are literally still the most valuable company in the world. It's funny how this doesn't get a lot of press. Obviously, when it happened, it was a big, like, how the heck did Microsoft do this? As if Microsoft were slowly drifting off to irrelevance or something, which says a lot about press these days. But it also says a lot about the press these days that they've maintained this lead, and it's not a story, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It is interesting.
It is. It is. I think Microsoft overall has had a good year. I mean, they've had their ups and downs for sure, but their ups have been significantly higher than their downs by all means. So.
Yeah. You know, it's the Windows 10 stuff is too bad, obviously, and I feel like had the October update not happened, there would be a far better impression of quality and, you know, reliability in my head than there is right now. But yeah, I mean, I do wonder sometimes whether these quality issues even, you know, are even known to normal people, right? I mean, that might be their secret strength, is that nobody knows how terrible it is, you know. And I didn't write this morning for this reason, but I wrote about updating Windows, not the classic updating Windows, like we all complain about feature updates and quality updates, but the many avenues in Windows for which you can update all of the applications, the drivers, you know, all that stuff. And it's astonishing how many updaters we have on any given Windows PC, and many of them duplicating each other. But one of my worst experiences that is really routine is watching, it's usually the HP software updater and the Windows update trying to install Intel driver updates that overwrite each other and are different versions. Because, you know, they'll see that one will see the other one has put a version that it doesn't think is the right one, and they sit there and they fight each other. Literally how this is not supposed to work. So I was delighted with the October update to discover that Intel is now recommending people use their updater for these drivers. And so now I have 3 things on my computer fighting each other to install the same drivers. You know, it's hilarious.
Yeah. I'm just still hoping I one day have my own private driver. And here you are with 3 of them.
I did miss a Miss Daisy reference, I guess, in my article headline. It's too bad.
You did. We will hold it all over your head for all of 2019. Seems like the only right thing to do.
Perhaps a golf reference. I don't know. Anyway.
Speaking of golf, I need to go golfing, and it's not going to happen for many months.
60 degrees today, you know, if it wasn't raining.
It is. It's 43 here, but I feel like it might be a little soupy. Yeah,
I was going to say, regardless of the temperature, the field is going to be a swamp.
Yeah.
Or the field. I guess you don't call it a field. The court, the ice rink. What's it called? A
course?
Yes. The slope. I don't know. Whatever it is.
Well, I usually call it that little piece of shit that I'm trying to land on. But no matter how large the golf course is, I can always manage to not land on it. Yeah. So, Mr. Threat, you got anything else for 2018 before we...
No, I got to do Ask Paul. I'll do that this afternoon now because of the recording time here. And then I'm going to babysit this post that I'm scared to death of, and hopefully it will work out. What about you?
I am going to go spray my bathtub with some, spray the caulk with some I don't know, agent that's supposed to eat it, and then I'm going to scrape it off, and then I'm going to put new caulk on, because what better way to roll into 2019 with brand new white caulking on the bathtub?
And just when you thought Brad's house couldn't get whiter, he's proven you wrong again.
And with that, folks, with that sunburn, I'm going to need some SPF 50 after this one. We are going to shut it down for 2018. We hope that you have a good holiday, a good New Year, stay safe, and all that good stuff. We will catch you back here in 2019, and we will see what Microsoft and everyone else has ahead. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and we'll catch you in January.
That's like a solid 10 days.
I know. My wife's like, "What are you going to do?" 2 weeks. She said, "What are you going to do? Not time? Why is there glitter?"
You want to just have like a short phone call every day?
No, but why is there glitter on the Surface Book 2? This is.
Oh, I just had that same. I literally just had this conversation.
It's like an elf
I walked
vomited.
into the kitchen, put my hand down on the counter. I did something, and I turned around and I said, "Why is there glitter on my shirt?" I literally just said this.